So let's talk about the 2025 Bihar Assembly election, because this isn't just another trip to the polls. What we're looking at is a perfect storm of social change, new political challengers, and a high-stakes power struggle that could literally redefine the future of India's third most populous state.
So you might be asking, okay, but is it really that different? Is this just another election cycle for Bihar? Well, with new demands bubbling up and a political landscape that's completely in flux, the answer is a hard no. Something really fundamental is changing here.
In fact, the word analysts are using is a political churn, and that's the perfect word for it. It's this massive upheaval where all the old certainties, all the traditional rules of the game, they're basically being tossed out the window. This churn is the key to understanding everything that's about to happen.
So, how do we get to this point? Well, in this explainer, we're going to walk you through it all. We'll start with Bihar's great political churn, then look at the clash between the old guard and a new disruptor, uncover the election's hidden X factors, dive into the crazy numbers game, and finally, ask that big question: what is really at stake for Bihar?
Okay, first stop, this great political churn. What was the spark that lit this fire? Believe it or not, it was a single game-changing government report, the state's recent caste census. Yeah, the Bihar caste survey wasn't just some boring headcount. It was a political earthquake. See, for the very first time, different communities had hard data on just how big their populations were, and that knowledge, as you're about to see, is being turned directly into political power. And here it is. This is the survey's most explosive finding. Just look at that top number. The extremely backward classes, the EBCs, make up a staggering 36% of the population. This has just ignited a whole new sense of identity and empowerment. And now, all the political parties are scrambling to get their support. So, this new political reality has set the stage for a pretty dramatic showdown. You have the old guard versus a brand new disruptor. For decades, Bihar's politics has really been a two-horse race, but now there's a wild card in the mix and they're threatening to blow the whole system up. In one corner, you've got the usual suspects. There's the ruling NDA, a powerhouse coalition led by the longtime Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and the BJP. And in the other corner, you have the Mahagathbandhan opposition, fronted by the very charismatic Tej Yadav. For a generation, these two giants have been the whole story. But this year, the game has totally changed. A new player has stepped onto the field. He's a political mastermind you might know as PK, or Prashant Kishor. His new party, Jan Suraaj, isn't just a third option. It's a direct challenge to the entire two-party system. We are now looking at a three-way fight for Bihar. So what's the deal with PK? Is he a real contender, or is he just a vote divider? Well, one theory, as you see here, is that his whole purpose is to split the anti-BJP vote, which would pretty much hand an easy victory to the ruling NDA. But the reality might be a whole lot more complicated than that. And here's the twist. Look at this. Based on survey data, PK is actually the second most preferred leader for chief minister. People clearly respect him. They see him as a viable alternative. But the million-dollar question is this: do they trust him enough to actually win? That changes everything. Okay, but this election isn't just about the three big names at the top. It's about all the new voices and new faces that are changing politics from the ground up. These are the X factors, the wild cards that could really decide the outcome. First up, you have to know about the Jivika Didis. We're talking about a network of 1.4 crore rural women organized through self-help groups. They are a force to be reckoned with. They're not just a passive voting bloc anymore. They are organized, independent, and powerful, and every party wants their vote. Another huge X factor, the youth vote. 40% of Bihar's population is under 30. Think about that. This is a digitally connected generation, and they are completely rewriting the political playbook. Their priorities are not their parents' priorities. So what do they want? It's pretty straightforward. They're tired of empty promises. They want jobs, so they don't have to leave home to find work. They want better schools, a real future. And they want a government that actually delivers on development, not just talk. And then, of course, you've got star power. From famous folk singers to Bhojpuri movie superstars, parties are using celebrities to connect with voters. But don't be fooled. This isn't just about glamour. It is a very calculated strategy to lock down specific caste and regional votes in a super competitive landscape. So with all these different forces pulling in different directions, this election is going to come down to a brutal numbers game. In Bihar, Every single vote matters, and a vote splitter like Prashant Kishor could be the tiny difference between winning and losing. I mean, if you need any proof, just look at the last election in 2020. It was a complete nail-biter, and it showed us just how fragile the political balance in Bihar really is. In dozens of races, the winner was decided by a margin so thin you could barely see it. Get this. In 2020, 11 different seats were won by less than 1,000 votes. 11. That's how incredibly close it was. A tiny shift in any one of those places could have flipped the entire result of the election. But wait, it gets even crazier. In the Hilsa constituency, the winning margin was just 12 votes. 12. That's it. So you see, in Bihar, elections aren't won in landslides. They're won by inches. And in a game this tight, a vote splitter isn't just a possibility, it's a mathematical certainty that will change things. So when the stakes are this high, what does it all mean for the future of Bihar? Well, this isn't just a political race. It's really a battle for the soul of the state. On one side, you have the old way of doing politics, a system built on traditional caste and community loyalties that's been in place for generations. And on the other side, you have this new rising demand for a future built on development, on jobs, and on real opportunity. That is the fundamental choice facing voters. So, will this political churn push Bihar into a new era of progress, or will it just lead to more fragmentation, with everyone retreating to their old corners? The answer is in the hands of the people of Bihar, and honestly, the rest of the country will be watching very closely to see which path they choose.